Hello Steelers, and welcome to this game of Sharp Practice. This is going to be using the Forces of the 100 Days bit that John McGinn wrote for the Two Fat Lardies special. I forget which one it is. Might be 2020, might be 2021. I'll put the note in the video down below just to remind me which one it is, but I separated it out from the PDF, printed it out separately so I can use it, because my Sharp Practice forces are based around the 100 Days campaign. And I'm recording this in September, and I'm currently still on a bit of a high from my recent trip to Waterloo itself. I'd never been before. I did create a video about that, which by the time this video should be out, that should also be out, so go and check that out as well. A little bit of a trip around Waterloo. And I just thought, well, I play Blucher, so let's have a go with some Sharp Practice as well in the 100 Days. So that's what I've done. I've set up a very basic Sharp Practice game. We've got a French mule train after Waterloo trying to escape, and we've got some French infantry going to be trying to help it escape, and meanwhile we've got a little British contingent coming up that road, and they are going to pile into it. So completely made up scenario, but it should be fun now, and I've just dotted a few bits and pieces around on the table as well, just to make it slightly interesting. So as always with these videos, I'll keep this short because there's not much else to tell you. As always with the videos, what I'll do is I'll show you the forces, I'll show you the table, and we shall then crack on with the game itself. So these are our two forces. As I say, it's pretty basic, to be honest. So we've got a French force of line infantry, 3 groups of 8 each in there, and also 2 voltigeur skirmishers, so they're pretty good. They're a bit worth a few more points. But then we've also got leader number 1, leader number 2, and leader number 3. Leader number 1 is a level 3 leader, leader number 2 is a level 2 leader, and the final one is he's a lead level 1 leader, and then we've got a level 2 leader with the voltigeur skirmishers. Got the same, and also I'll put a flagman in as well just for fun. The same with the British as well. They've got a leader 1, a level 3 leader, a level 1 leader, and then also another level 2 leader. They then have 4 peninsular veterans, groups of peninsular veterans, and also 2 skirmishers as well. They've also got a flag party and a drummer as well, a musician. So pretty simple forces for both sides. It's just going to be a bit of a dust up really. I don't think I've got the British out on the table for a while, so it'll be nice to see them doing something. And let's just see if the French can actually hold on and keep the mule train on their side. So here we have our table, looking from the British jumping off point, or deployment point, should I say. So that's down here. I've got that down here, and then we've got the French one all the way up here, and you can see that there in those fields. This is the mule train, the French mule train that is currently trying to escape the clutches of the dastardly British. And the rest of the table is pretty open. There's some wheat fields in there, a couple of clumps of trees, a little stream on the left, but apart from that, a relatively open table, and just a little bit of cover just in case anybody wants in. There's a couple of hills as well that you can possibly see, so they will hide people behind the crest of them. I've already done the force morale. Here we are, this is it. So the British actually rolled pretty high, they've got 11. The French rolled pretty low, so they're starting with 9. So already the French are on the back foot. But let's just start this game and see where we go with it. Right then, let's get straight into this. We got our first card is Leader 2, French Leader 2. So this is the sous-lieutenant actually, so he actually can't bring anybody on, so we're going to ignore his card for now. French flag, give that to the French. Next up, red flag, give that to the British. Next up, French flag, give that to the French. So that is actually 3 cards pulled, so that is a random event. However, there is nobody on the table, so I'm just going to ignore that for this first turn. But British Leader 3, okay, that is our skirmishers guy, so he's going to deploy onto the table. So I'll get that set up now. So first things first, basically brought on Leader 3 with his 2 skirmishers. This is the British, and he's pushed them forward as far as he can, which is 12 inches from the deployment point. So I'm going to try to get to that, to the cart itself. It will move 1d6 on the tiffin card, so they've got to get there as quick as they can. Okay, next card then is a blue flag. So French now have got 3, so that's a bonus. No, it's not bonus, it's an extra move for them. Next got 4. So if the French can get somebody on the table, they can actually get a bonus move out of this. Next card, British Leader 1. Okay, so this is our big boss. We'll get him on the table as well, I think. So Leader 1 has brought everybody on with him, British Leader 1. So we've got the 3 groups here, and he's put those in line, but he's also split off one group with Leader 2, whose card has already come up, so he can't activate anyway. But that's everybody for the British are now on the table, so at least they're going to make a beeline for that. For the cards. Okay, let's see who's next. It is another red flag for the British. So that's 2 they've got at the moment. 2 more and they could get a bonus move. The French, remember, they've still got 4 there. Next one, Leader 1. It's the French Leader 1. Right, he is going to deploy, of course. So the French have deployed under Leader 1, basically brought on both of his sub-commander and all the rest of the men, and then they're going to spend those 4 cards for him to get his bonus move. So what he's going to do, he's going to command these guys over here to get forward, and then also command these to get forward as well. So we're going to go with the first ones, 2 actions on their move, 9 inches. Want to get them as close to that wagon train as possible. So I'll bring them down to here. So they go 9 inches for the first ones, and then he's also triggering the activations of the other guys as well. So at least they've got down to the wagon train. And let's see what these ones do. So they get 12 inches for those ones. So these will come up to the top of this hill, and that's where they will stop. So that's good. That means they are now far forward. So that's used up the French 4 cards. So let's see what the next one is. Red for the British. Hopefully they'll get another card before the tiffin. There you go, tiffin card. So that ends a turn. There is nothing I can do on tiffin apart from move the mule train and see how far they go. Right, so we roll our dice. 3 inches. Slowly, slowly. And they're just going to get off the table. The British, all they have to do is contact them with any single unit. But at least they're getting past those French infantry. So, just give these cards a good old shuffle and let's see what we get at the start of turn 2. French Leader 1. Alright, so he is in a reasonably good position, so I'm probably going to just to get him to move forward to start protecting those mule trains, I think. Alright, so both of these groups are just currently too far away to fire, so I just want to shuffle these kind of forward, probably towards this little area here. So let's see, 7 inches. It's average, isn't it, for those? So just want to get them here to basically to block the road to stop that British advance. So we're going to move these up to here. So now the carts and everything are just behind these. That's just decoration, so I'm just going to shift it out of the way and bring him forward. And from the position that he was in, he could also command the other units over there. So they are also going to come down here. I'm going to try and block this road here to stop there. So that's 8 inches. So I think that's about the same, actually. Yeah. So let's just brought these guys down to here. So we got them on the edge. That's their second in command. So basically, that's all they're doing with the French at the moment. Right, let's see who is next up then. Leader 3 for the British. Okay, this is the skirmisher leader. He's a level 2, so he could actually get his men to move and fire, perhaps. So the British skirmishers are just here, just behind this tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move them slightly forward. I think they're just within 24 inch of that French unit over there, but I want to get them a little bit closer and then open fire. So let's see how far they get. I'll re-roll that in the, I think it was called 5 inches. So we're just going to shove these chaps up 5 inches. So that just takes them to the edge of these the fields there. Not so much for these ones, these are just on the edge there. So these are going to be in light cover, I think, because of fire. So they're going to use their second action now to fire. So we've got the skirmishers, they're firing. They are light infantry skirmishers. Normally they're hitting on 6 because they're at long range, but they get a +1 for being light infantry skirmishers. They also get a +1 for it being their first fire. So we're looking at 4s up for this first shot. Going to be spread all the way across French there. We will like actually just cocked. So we said 4s up. Let's get rid of everything that isn't a hit. So we got 1, 2, 6. So that's exactly half. So 3 hits on each of those French units. So let's see what happens to them. So these are currently in the open. So basically it's going to be a kill on a 6. 3 to 5 is a shock. So for the closest group, I'll re-roll that because it could have been a 6 or a 2. There you go, 3 to a 4, 3 and 4, so that's 2 shock on the first group. So I'll just quickly place that on there. There's their 2 shock, and then 3 hits on the other group. And this time we've got 2 more shock on them. So that's all that's happened. So a little bit of shock, but still, they need to get rid of it. Okay, so next card up then is Tiffin card. Right, so that basically everybody who is unloaded. So on that Tiffin card, let's see how far our mule train moves. 2 inches. So making great progress there, lads. First card up is a red card, so that's a red flag for the British. Next one, another red flag for the British. Next up, British leader 2. So this is their small guy. I think he's probably just going to bring his units around to the left of their flank just to try to deal with that French unit. Okay, to get these guys into a good position, I'm actually going to spend 2 cards on them to step out, so they get an extra d6 of movement in this turn. So we're going to roll 3d6. Let's have a look. They've got 10, 12, so I want to get them currently behind these hills here, so I just want to get them up onto the top of these hills so they can at least see those Frenchies down on the road. So bring them up to here. And that was our leader 2. Next card up then is a blue card for the French. Blue flag. Then we have British leader 3. Okay, so that's our skirmishers once again. I think they're probably just going to do the same as they did before, aren't they? Okay, they're once again firing at these French. However, this time it's not a first fire, and also they're not firing on their. They're not adding anything into it. So basically, they're hitting on a 5 or a 6. They're still up in range. It might not be as good as before. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. No, exactly as you would expect from 12 shots. So that's 4 hits, so that's going to be 2 hits on each of those formations. So let's see, 6 is kill, 3 up is shock. So for the first one here, 1 shock, so turn that up to 3. And then 2 hits on the other one. Let's see, this time we've got 6 and a 2. 2 is nothing, but that hit is a kill. If there was more than 1 kill on the unit, they would have taken a hit on the leader. So they haven't, they've just taken 1 kill. Right, our next card then is a Tiffin card. Okay, so that ends the turn, but the French have still got a blue card in play. So we're going to use that to activate their infantry unit, and they are going to open fire at those British skirmishers that are causing them so much hassle. I'll also move that mule cart as well. Well, let's first of all see how far fellow me lad gets. He's a 6-inch. He's definitely sped up. The British are going to need to get moving onto this one, I think. So let's push him forward there. They can't just really stand about and fire at this point, I don't think. So the French are firing. They are firing with 13 dice because they've lost 1 man. They're also on 5 shocks, so -2 dice for that. It's their first fire, and it is also a controlled fire as well. It's their first fire of the game, so it can be controlled. So that gives them 2 + 1s. They're hitting on 6, becomes a 4 up. Let's see, they should get a reasonable number out of here. Let's just get rid of all of the ones that have missed. And once again, they're spreading their fire across these British here. Then they're going to use their second action to reload. So they are reloaded. 1, 2. Yes, so there you go, 6 hits. So about average. So I'm going to take 3 hits on each of these groups. So the first one's here. They're in the open. 6 is a kill, and 3 up is a shock. So I'll put the shock on there. They've also taken a kill. Now let's see if that. Well, we'll see if there's any more kills on the others. And these ones are actually in light cover because they're in the fields. So this time they killing on a 6, but shocking on. Oh, two more kills. 2 more kills and a. It's not a shock. They need 4 up for the shock for light cover. No apologies. It is a shock. It's a shock on them as well, and 2 kills as well. So that's 3 kills in total on those. So I'm just going to test if that kill is on their leader or not. So we roll 1, 2, or 3, and it is. Yes, it is. He's been hit. So we roll once again, see what happens to him. And it's a 2. He's knocked out until the end of the chapter. But that is a bad things happen, so we'll put 1 back in there for them. Yeah, so bad things happen straight away. I count this as the leader wounded, so we roll again, see what happens. 2, no effect. He's not very well liked. Right, start with the next turn then. Let's have a look. We've got British leader 2. So this is the fella out on his own at the moment. Does he fire or does he move? That cart is getting away pretty quick, so I think we're going to actually, I think I'm going to move with them. I think what I'm going to try to do is get him onto the next rise over there, I think, with his guys. So hopefully they can at some point break through. So they've got a 10 inch to move, and I said to the rise, so I want to bring them to there. So they can at least now fire down on those French. And just in case for a future turn. And who is up next? It's a British red flag. And next, British leader 1. Right, they can actually start getting the big formation forward now, and I think they're going to try to push their way through the French with strength of numbers. Right, they've got to keep their eye on the prize, so that's what they're going to do. They're going to try and get up this road as quick as possible. That's 6. Looks like a 3, but it's not. It's just a misprint on the dice, I promise you. So we're going to come up here. As I say, we're trying to kind of forgotten a little bit about the that card that they're trying to destroy. Okay, next card up then is British flag. Then we have a French flag. Then we have a French flag. Right, that's 3 cards that have come up so that's a random event, and it's a moving random event because the last unit that moved were those British. So let's see what happens. Roll 2d6. And we've got a 7. I promise you that's a 2, not a 3. It says, tell the men to sing. If the troops are in any column formation, they may take 2d6 movements immediately. They're not, so they can't. That was against those British. So we continue on. And we have another British card. That has taken them up to 3. Do they hold on to those, or do they do something with them? Let's just see what the next card is. It's another British card. Right, they have now got 4, so they're actually going to spend those, and they're going to spend those on leader 1 again, and he is going to take a bonus activation. So fellow me lad over here, he's going to push these forward 2d6, so let's see how far they get. 5 inches, so at least other side of those skirmishers, so they're now pushing past them. As I say, I'm really trying to get them further forward as much as possible. However, the French are now going to actually interrupt that move with one of their cards, and they're going to get that formation over here to fire as an interruption against these here as well. So they're going to interrupt with their 2 actions. So they've currently got, let's just work it out, they've got 8 dice for one group, minus 1 dice, and then they've got 7 dice for the other group, because that was because of shock. So they've got 7 dice for the other group, 5, 6, 7, but also minus another dice as well. Let's just check that range, see how far they are. I think they're probably 6 inch away at this point, so let's have a look. They're actually just on 12 inch, so they're actually at close range for those muskets. They're hitting on 4s up, but it's not a controlled fire, so they've already done their controlled fire, so now it's uncontrolled fires. So I will just mark them with an uncontrolled fire, but they are going to be firing and reloading, so there's no point putting smoke down. But they're hitting on 4s up. It's going to be spread across all 3 of those. Actually, it's going to be spread across, I would say, all of these 4, to be honest, because these are close enough as well as part of it, and they're just firing into the mass, aren't they? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the misses. These are the hits. We've got 2, 4, 6, 7 hits. So we've got 8 groups in there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 on there because these were the primary target, 2 onto those, 2 onto those, and then 1 on this peripheral one up here. So they're all actually in the open apart from these ones here. So I'm going to start with these ones. 6 is a kill, 3 up is shock, 1 no effect. So that's got away with that. Second one is these guys over here. So these are in the open, so 6 is a kill, 3 up is shock, 2 and a 1. Ooh, this is not looking so good for those Frenchies. Then the middle one, same again, but that's 1 shock they've had caused. So they've done something at least so far. And then the other guys, the last ones, are actually in light cover because they're in the field over here. So I'm going to put them in light cover. So let's just see. But that is a kill and a shock on them. It's not more than 2 kills, so it's only 1 kill, so we don't test if it's their leader. It's just 1 hit there. so our next card up is French Leader 3. So this is the skirmishers. Now they haven't actually appeared on the table yet, so that's good for them. So the French have brought on the voltigeurs onto their left flank to hold those woods if they can. They just push them forward, really, that's all they've done. Next card up then is British Leader 3. He's currently knocked out until the end of the turn, so he can't do a great deal. Another French interruption card if they want to use it. Do they play it now or do we hold on? Let's just hold on. Another French interruption card. They're currently holding 3. They've already spent 1, unfortunately for them. Well, they're going to spend those because we're actually down to the last few cards here. So they're going to spend these 3 and get their leader 2 to activate and then fire up at the hill. So we're at close range, less than 12 inch, and they also have, it's their first fire as well. They're not firing control because they're not a formation, so they're just hitting on basically on a 3 up. So it's pretty good odds. So pretty much everything is hit there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits on this small British unit. I'm only going to take them in because they're on the crest of the hill and nobody else behind them can see. So we've got 7 hits on them, 6 of the kills, 3 up is shock. 2 kills and 1, 2, 3 shock. So let's put that shock on while I remember. There's the shock, and then we said 2 kills as well, so we'll see if it's that leader or not. No, it isn't. Then next up we've got French Leader 1. Okay, he is not going to do anything. He's just going to reduce shock on his men, so he's going to take 2 off one of them and 1 off the other. So that knocks them both down to 1. And then Tiffin. Okay, nobody's got any cars to spend, but I'm going to move those mules. Okay, let's see how far these mules get. 1 inch. Stumbling along on the old muddy road. Okay, our first card up for this turn is French Leader 3. Right, that's the voltigeurs. They are probably just going to pile forward, I think. So these guys are going to try and get into these trees here. They are light, so they get an extra d6 on their movements, and that's 11, 12 inches. I'm going to take 2 off for moving into those trees, I think. So it kind of brings them to nicely into about here, and they will soon be able to fire out, I think. Okay, then we have blue card for the French. Next one, blue card for the French. Next one is Leader 1. Okay, so he is going to get them to fire. Well, he's going to actually reduce their shock and then get them to fire. They're already firing in control, so they'll just carry on firing. So these guys are now firing, and I'm going to chuck in those extra 2 cards as well to add another 2 dice into the firing mix. And they are firing uncontrolled, but again it's going to be spread across all of these British units here, hitting on 4s up, so they'll get rid of everything that isn't a 4 up. That's well over half, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hits on those British. So I'm going to have to mix those across. Let me just count up a few dice here. There we go. So we've got, I'm just going to, my maths is not my strong point, so I'm just going to distribute these as equally as possible across these units here. And then we'll know exactly what. Actually, look at that. Perfect. There we go. I'm going to put the 3 on those because they're on the periphery, and the main body that they're firing at is these ones down here. So we're going to start with these anyway. These are in the open. 6 is a kill, 3 up is shock. So that's 2 shock on them. It's not affecting them yet. Hasn't pushed them back or anything. Then we've got 3 hits on these ones. Let's see what it brings. So that's a kill and also 1 shock as well. Stick shock quickly on them, because otherwise I'm forgetting all the fun. Then the middle unit. So we've already had 1 kill. I'm just keeping them to one side for a minute to see how many others we got. So same again, another shock and another kill. So that's 2 kills so far. Let's see if any of those are on the unit leader. And then finally, last one is another kill and another shot. No, these ones are in cover, but that is still a kill. So that's 3 kills in total. And 1, 2, 3, it's hit their leader. No, it hasn't. So it's just 3 of the lads. Right, bit of nastiness from the French there. Let's see what we got. We've got a red flag for the British. Let's have a look again. another red flag for the British. That's 2 they've got. And then a blue flag for the French. So that is a random activation. The last one that happened was the French firing. So let's see what they've got. That's a 9. Charge them to hell. Inspired by their volley and convinced by the enemy is done for, the firers surge forward 2d6 inch. If they make contact, they fight fisticuffs immediately and are counted aggressive in the first round of that fight. So the French are going to try and charge. Let's see how far they get. 6 inches. Not enough to make contact, but they do get up to here at least. And I think, to be fair, that's going to probably stop them firing uncontrolled. I'm going to give them that slight bonus. So they've actually charged forward, thinking they are victorious. They're obviously a bit blind in all that smoke, aren't they? But let's have a look. Leader 1 for the British. Oh, and they've actually got 2 cards. So they're going to use sharp practice, which is basically they can fire and then move 3d6 into contact, into fisticuffs. So they're going to do that against the French that have just challenged them. A counter charge against the charge. So they're firing and then charging in. So first of all, the firing. They are hitting on 4s up with a +1 because of their first fire, so that's going to give them a 3 up a hit. So this is going to really smash the French up. Oh gosh, that is pretty much everything there has hit. I think that's a 2, not a 3. So that's almost everything. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 hits. So 7 on each of those groups. This is before they've even charged in, so 7 on these ones here, so 6 is the kill, 3 up is shock for these. So we've got 1 kill and 2, 4, 6 shock on those French straight away. So that hasn't pushed them back. Let's just knock one guy down. And then we've got 7 hits on the other one as well. This time it's another kill. And how many shock this time? Just go with 1, 2. Only 1 shock on them. So they got off quite lightly. I've got to see if it's the big man who's got hit. So their leader. So let's just have a look. 1 or a 2 it is. 6, no it isn't. So it's just them 2 fellas there. They haven't been pushed back because they've still got less shock than men. But the British are now going to use that sharp practice and charge in using 3d6. That's more than enough to get them into contact. So I'll just move these up, then I'll work out the fighting factors of both of these, and we'll see what the outcome of this scrap is going to be. Okay, I've done the sums, and the British have come out with 19 against the French 13. They've both got a colour party in there, so that means that it becomes a violent fight, so we ignore results. We fight again if it's a defeated by 1 or a defeated by 2 result. So we're rolling these dice, 5s and 6s, with 6s also causing that shock as well. So let's roll all of these together and see what happens. I don't know whose this is going to go worst for, to be honest. Well, let's see, we've got the French have managed to kill 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in total, whereas the British have killed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is there any more in there? So 7 against 5. So actually, if the French don't break and run, then this will be a violent fight. So the French have lost it by 2, but because of the colour party, that means they're going to be fighting again. So let's just work out what happens with all of this. So first of all, we've got for the shock, the British have caused 1, 2, 3, 4 shock. So that's going to be 2 shock on both of these. So that takes that group up to 8, which is going to push them back anyway. There's only 7 men in there at the moment, plus they're going to take some killed as well in a second, and then also 2 on this group here, so that is going to then take them up to 3. So quite a bit of maths going on here. And the French have caused 3 shock, so that's going to be 1 shock on each of the British groups, and then we'll work out the kills. Get the shock out of the way first of all. So now the kills, so the British have caused 4 on one and 3 on the other. So actually that's going to be enough to also hit one of their leaders as well. So it's going to be 3 on 3. So I'll take 3 off here, 1, 2, 3 off there, and then we can work out who is still hanging around or who has been pushed back and what the bad things happen are for that. So this group will have definitely been pushed back. We've also got to see what's happened to the French leader as well, and then we've got that 5 hits on the British. So I'll just test to see if one of those hits is actually on the leader. Let's have a look. 2, yes it is. So it's actually only going to be 4 hits in total. So let's just put these to one side for a second while I remember who's done what. And then we've got 4 hits spread across these. So 1, 2. I'll take 2 out of that central unit because they are doing the majority of the fighting. And then those guys there as well. Right, so none of the British are pushed back. They do have a hit on the leader. The French have a hit on their leader as well. So let's see what happens to those fellas. I'll roll them both together. Red being British, blue being French. Let's have a look. British guy's killed. Out. And the French guy is a light wound. He reduces his status by 1. But that's 2 bad things happen straight away for the French there. So, and also one of their units has been pushed back as well. Right, so let's look at this first of all. Right, the British leader being killed, number 1. He's a status 3 leader. So that's a 4. Is 2 points from their force morale, drops them down to 9. The French, for their leader being wounded, that's a 6. He's a status 3 leader, so that's 2 points off their force morale as well, so that brings them down to 7. Now we also have these guys are pushed back, I think it's 2 inch per shock, so they're pushed back quite a way over there, so they are actually out of the fight, because we're going to have to fight again because there's a French unit that's still there. So they're pushed back, so that is not only a unit pushed back but also a unit is broken as well. Sorry, not broken, but they are almost broken. 1 more hit and they will be broken. They are obliged to withdraw, so we're going to give them a roll for that first of all. A 3 is no effect, but it is formation broken by fire or fisticuffs, so we're going to roll for that as well. 6, that is another 2 points off the French. They're straight down to 5 on their force morale now. Not looking good. And then we've got to fight again. So I'll work out the numbers over here and we'll see where we're at with that. Okay, so I've calculated it now. So this time the French have only got 4 because of shock and what have you. And the British have got 4, 8, 12. So it's a few less, but still pretty, it could go either way. Well, I doubt it will, but let's just see. 5s and 6s as well, you never know. French have got 1, 2, 3 kills with 2 shock caused, whereas the British have killed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they've killed 5. They wiped out that group, and they have also. They've killed the leader. He doesn't get to roll, and they wiped out the unit and killed the leader. The British have taken 3 hits. They've got no leaders left, so they're going to take 2 shock, and they'll take 2 shock on the 2 units that are fighting, which is this one here, and then they will spread those kills between the others. So I'll take 2 off there, another one off there, and give them another shock as well. So they have won, but they are pretty battered. And we'll remove the French because they are now dead as donuts for sure. And then I've got to test for some more force morale. So we've got leaders killed and all sorts here. Right, so first of all we've got group wiped out, so that's going to be an easy one. So straight roll for that. 2 is -1 on the French morale, so that takes them down to 4. We've also got status 3 leader. Well, he's a status 2. He's a status 3. He started as status 3. He is killed. So let's see what happens to him. A 4 is another 2 points off. That drops them down to 2. 4 down to 2. Also, they've lost their support group as well because they've actually lost their colours. I'm going to give it to the British. So they've lost the colours. So that's a loss of a support group. So a 4 is another 2 points. That takes them to 0 and ends the game. That British sharp practice has actually won them the game. So it was foolhardy, but it's won. Well, there we go, folks. The table at the end of the turn. The fight at the crossroads was the ultimate decider. These French here have been pushed back. They will probably break anyway. The only other French unit are these guys over here, small unit, and then we've also got the Voltigeurs who are kicking about in the woods down there, who didn't even get into action at all. The British piled in with their big formation and smashed the French to bits. The French mules failed to get off the table in time before force morale dropped to 0, so they will probably be quickly caught up with and swept up in the advance. And the British skirmishers over here, because, well, you know, narratively what will probably happen here is skirmishers will go and take on the voltigeurs, just pin them down. Meanwhile, this unit will probably reform into a couple of smaller units and then go and catch the mule train in the coming turn, while these will probably pin each other in action over here as well. That's probably what would easily happen, I would have thought. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I did. I'm still trying to get to grips a little bit with short practice. I don't really know the balances of the game. I played it a few times and I love it. I think it's a great game. But I am, yes, certainly getting to grips with it still. I just need to play it more often. I just don't play it very often. But fantastic stuff. Really enjoyed it. I hope you did as well. If you did, leave me a comment. And I know I've made mistakes throughout. Don't worry about it. Just enjoy the narrative of the game. I've certainly made plenty of mistakes, but never mind. I had fun, and that's all that matters. Check out my Patreon, check out the channel memberships if you want to help out the channel, and also check out the other short practice games that are on the channel as well. And you know, this has spurred me on to make more at some point in the future, and I am currently working on some Highlanders, so hopefully they will hit the table at some point, and I will see you in the next Storm of Steel video.